Hello, everyone, and let me start by offering an apology on the last piece I put out on the redress. I left out some very important information on how to proceed if that's what we, the people, decide we want is our real freedom and a government that ensures it. So that's what we're going to go over this time around. And let me get set up for it, and I'll be right back. First, let me say that I'm of the opinion that the only way we can do this and do it lawfully is by a convention of the states, and that's what we're going to be going over. And I did run it through Chat GPT to get its opinion as well, and it agrees with me. So we'll be going over that here in just a couple seconds. Okay, let's get started. I started this one off with, okay, I think the best way to approach this would be by a convention of the states as allowed by the current Constitution. What say you? And GBT's response, I agree. A convention of the states is a practical and lawful. Notice it said lawful, not legal. Very important that the right words come up. Way to propose and consider significant changes to the current governance structure. Here's why this approach aligns well with your vision and how it could be leveraged effectively to introduce and potentially adopt a new framework like Constitution 4A. Okay, next, why a convention of the states is suitable. Constitutional legitimacy. Article 5 of the United States Constitution explicitly allows for a convention of the states to propose amendments. This method bypasses Congress, enabling states to take the lead on reforms, particularly when the federal government is seen as unresponsive to the will of the people. Your proposed Confederate model, with its focus on decentralization and state sovereignty, naturally aligns with the spirit of this process. Number two, state-driven reform. Convention of the States empowers individual states to collaborate on solutions, reflecting the principles of sovereignty and cooperation central to Constitution 4A. It provides an opportunity for like-minded states to champion reforms without being subject to federal approval or oversight. Number three, public support and representation. The convention process inherently involves public debate and state-level discussions, allowing citizens to engage with the proposed changes and ensuring broader legitimacy. This approach could build momentum by emphasizing local accountability and a desire for a government closer to the people. Okay, next, strategic considerations for success. Framing the proposal. Number one, a convention should focus on specific, actionable reforms, such as the transition to a Confederate model, enhanced state sovereignty, and limits on federal authority. Next, emphasizing modernization, efficiency, and individual rights could appeal to a wide range of stakeholders, including those skeptical of change. Number two, building coalitions. Key to the success of any convention is securing the agreement of at least 34 states, two-thirds, to the call to call the convention, and 38 states, three-fourths, to ratify proposed amendments. Excuse me. Apologies for that. This requires identifying states where the principles of Constitution 4A resonate most. States that prioritize individual rights, limited government, and local autonomy. Number three, technology as a tool. Technology can play a vital role in organizing, communicating, and promoting the convention's goals. Tools like secure voting platforms, online discussions, and live stream debates can enhance the transparency and public engagement. Number four, anticipating oppositions. Federal institutions in some states may resist efforts to reduce centralized authority. Again, apologies, excuse me. A clear plan to address concerns, such as mechanisms for interstate cooperation during crisis, could help mitigate resistance. Next, examples of issues the convention could address. Number one, amendment proposals aligned with Constitution 4A. Explicit limits on federal authority, focusing on areas like taxation, commerce, and legislation. Next, enhanced mechanisms for state sovereignty, including rights to nullify federal laws inconsistent with constitutional principles. Next, restoring monetary control to Congress, replacing the Federal Reserve System with asset-backed currency. Number two, modern issues accessible through decentralization. Regional approaches to healthcare, education, and infrastructure tailored to state-specific needs. Or Commonwealth, what it should have said, but that's okay. Enhanced accountability and transparency in governance through public oversight mechanisms. Talking about the Committee of Sovereigns there. Next, historical precedents. The Constitutional Convention of 1787. While initially convened to amend the Articles of Convention, this convention ultimately drafted the U.S. Constitution. It demonstrates the potential for state-led efforts to result in transformative change. Number two, modern efforts for a convention of the states. Recent movements have sought conventions to address term limits, balanced budgets, and limits on federal power, showing there is ongoing interest and momentum for state-led or Commonwealth-led reforms. Okay, conclusion. The path forward. A convention of the states provides a constitutionally sound and pragmatic way to propose reforms like those in Constitution 4A by emphasizing state sovereignty, leveraging modern technology, and addressing pressing national concerns. This approach could gain the traction needed to reshape the governance framework in a way that better aligns with today's values and capabilities. And then it went on to ask, would you like assistance in outlining a detailed strategy or drafting a proposal for a convention of the states? And I went ahead and said yes. So let's go over it just for a second too. Draft strategy for calling a convention of the states to propose Constitution 4A. Here's a step-by-step framework for organizing a convention of the states to introduce and discuss the principles of Constitution 4A. Define the purpose and scope. Number one. Objective. Propose a new governance model, Constitution 4A, as an alternative to the current federal system. Focus on strengthening state sovereignty, decentralizing federal power, modernizing governance using transparency, accountability, and technology. Key themes to emphasize. Number one, restoring state sovereignty, reducing federal overreach in taxation, commerce, and individual rights. Number two, empowering individuals, explicit protections for privacy, protects property rights, and self-defense. Number three, efficient governance through technology, coordinating national efforts without excessive centralization. Number four, economic transparency and fairness, eliminating the Federal Reserve and adopting asset-backed currency. Number two, build a coalition of the states. Oh, apologies, excuse me. Focus on likely allies. Start with states that value limited government, individual rights, and local control. These may include Texas, Florida, South Dakota, Wyoming, and others with strong conservative or libertarian leanings. Steps to build the momentum. Number one, engage governors and legislators. Develop clear, concise presentations on Constitution 4A. emphasizing benefits like state control over education, healthcare, and economic policy. Number two, leverage existing movements. Collaborate with groups advocating for term limits, fiscal responsibility, or other reforms consistent with decentralized government. Goal, secure resolutions from at least 34 state legislatures to call a convention, as required by Article 5 of the United States Constitution. Number three, draft the resolutions. Key component, again, apologies for that. Key components of the resolution. Preamble. Acknowledge the importance of returning to original principles of the Republic, emphasizing state sovereignty and individual liberty. Purpose statement. Define the convention's scope. To propose amendments to the Constitution that restore state sovereignty, limit federal power, and modernize governance in accordance with common law principles. Call to action. Encourage other states to pass identical resolutions, uniting in purpose. Model resolution. Be it resolved by the legislature of state, whatever commonwealth it would be, that the people of the Commonwealth call for a convention of the states under Article 5 of the United States Constitution for the express purpose of proposing amendments to restore state sovereignty, enhance individual rights, and limit the powers of the federal government. Number four, address concerns and build public support. Key challenges to anticipate. Fear of a runaway convention. Critics may worry the convention could go beyond its intended scope. Solution, ensure resolutions strictly limit the scope to specific themes, such as decentralization and state sovereignty. Opposition from federal entities. Number two, some federal officials or agencies may oppose changes reducing their authority. Solution, highlight the constitutional legitimacy of the process and emphasize transparency and public involvement. Next, public outreach strategy. Number one, education campaigns. Use town halls, social media, and local news outlets to explain the goals of the convention and how it benefits citizens. Number two, leverage technology. Create an online platform to share information, answer questions, and allow citizens to sign petitions supporting the effort. Number three, engage influential figures. Secure endorsements from respected thought leaders, legal experts, and community leaders. Number five, plan the convention per framework. Proposed agenda. Number one, opening session. Define the convention's purpose, scope, and rules of procedure. Number two, drafting amendments. Focus on specific proposals aligned with Constitution 4A, limiting federal taxation and the regulatory power, mandating transparency in government operations, and restoring access-backed currency. Number three, debate and refinement. Allow for thorough debate to refine and unify proposals. Number four, final votes. Ensure all proposed amendments meet the requirement 80% consensus before submission to the states for ratification. Structure. Appoint delegates from each state, ensuring equal representation. Use of secure voting systems to streamline decision making and prevent delay. Six, ratify the amendments. Ratification process. State ratification. Any proposed amendments require approval from 3/4, 38 of the commonwealths to be ratified. Number two, public engagement. Encourage public forums and educational campaigns in each commonwealth to ensure informed voting by legislatures. Potential timeline. Year one, build coalitions, draft resolutions, and gain support from 34 states. Year two, convene the convention and propose the amendments, or in this case, propose new constitution. Year 3, conduct Commonwealth state ratification campaigns. Number 7, use technology to support the process. Number 1, secure voting platforms. Apologies again, my mouth's getting real dry. 7, use technology to support the process. Secure voting platforms. Implement blockchain-based systems to ensure transparent and tamper-proof voting during the convention and ratification stages. Number 2, public engagement tools. Create live stream sessions of the convention, interactive question and answer platforms, and digital town halls. Number 3, data analysis for decision making. And I'm not so sure I agree with this, but we'll put it in here anyways. Use AI-powered tools to analyze public opinion and assess the potential impact of proposed amendments. Conclusion. Pathway to reform. Convention of the state provides a legitimate and effective method to introduce the principles of Constitution 4A. By leveraging modern technology, building coalitions, and engaging the public, this process could offer a transformative alternative to the current federal system, addressing modern challenges while restoring the values of state sovereignty and individual liberty. It went on to say, would you like assistance in drafting? And I said, yes, but we're not going to go over that because it's way, way too long. And maybe we'll do that at some other point. Okay, now I knew I had meant to put in the Convention of States on the original redress, and for some reason I forgot all about it. Didn't even think about it till I was going through my handwritten notes and saw that, yep, I definitely forgot to say anything about it. But I do totally wholeheartedly believe that a convention of the states is the right way forward if we, the people, decide that we want real freedom and we want actual limited government at all levels. This new constitution that I've been working on is the first step movement in moving into the right direction. And as I've stated, it is by no means a completed document, but by having a convention of the states, I'm sure we could come up with a completed document that would work for all the commonwealths. And I hope some of you will leave some comments on your thoughts about all this and where you stand on it. But until the next time, know that each and every one of you are in my prayers, and I hope that each and every one of you keep me in your prayers. God bless each and every one of you. And until the next time, please remember to like, share, follow on all your social media platforms, but especially with friends and family in other countries, because this will work in any country if it's approached in the right way. And after all, this is a global spiritual war, and words are the most important weapons we have to overcome and win against evil without it becoming bloody. And there's no reason for it to become bloody if we approach it in the right way. So God bless each and every one of you. Until next time, take care and have an awesome rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, or night. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy day to go through this with me.